So I've got this emerald gold ring here, and I need to size it up. Now, emeralds are something that I usually want to always try to avoid having to size a ring, but I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it. Now this is 18 karat white gold. The diamonds will be fine. It's the emerald I'm worried about, but I'm going to walk you through how to do it right now. Here's some scraps of 18 karat white. I'm going to melt them and roll it into a little rectangle wire that I can size the ring with. So each one of these lines is a ring size, and I need to go up 2.5 sizes. So I'm going to stretch this open, so this is 2. I'm just going to go to halfway, and I know my piece of metal needs to be at least this long. So here it is. So I know I've got just enough. Now what I'm going to do is also add a little curve into this to match the curve of the ring. But first, I'm going to cut the ring open. I'm going to try to do it right in the bottom of the band and do straight across. Alright, so the ring is apart. Now I need to open it up, so this is 2.5 sizes bigger. So I've got my ring on the mandrel, and I'm going to carefully slide it up, but I don't want to push it too much. And once it starts getting some resistance, I'm going to go in with my rawhide mallet and hammer it out a little bit. So I'm going to go up just a little bit and start tapping around just to open it up. I don't want to force it too much at first. Especially because I've got diamonds set on the side here, and I don't want them to just pop out. So I'm going up a little bit at a time and just hammering to stretch that metal out just a little bit. And I really don't want to try to force it too much because I don't want anything to happen to the emerald in the top. I'm at the 6.5, and I know this ring is going to spring back when I let it go, but while it's on the mandrel and sitting here, I'm going to cut and measure this and also match the curve of this so it fits right in, and then when I slide the ring off, it'll be held in there by tension. So I'm back over here on my bench pin, and I'm just going to file the end of this little piece of white gold flat. And this is going to be one of the ends in the ring. So I'm just going to double check this size, and it's looking good. So I'm going to go back over to that little sizing piece and measure it with these. Alright, now that I have that measured, I'm going to hold it in my parallel pliers and saw off that end. Something really important to keep in mind as well is that you want to leave a little extra so that when you file it clean, it's not too small. So I'm just going a little bit on the outside of the line. Getting it started with such a small piece can sometimes be a little tricky. Save this little end. Then you can go in with your file and just clean up that end a little bit as well. So I've got this Durston forming block here, and I'm going to put that little piece of gold right in there, and I want it parallel because what I'm going to do is hammer this down just to add a little curve. And this is just one of my dapping pieces. And with such a small piece, the curve is not going to be super noticeable. But it's going to help a lot when I'm putting it in there. So after that, I'm going to take it over here and see how it fits. Alright, it's resting in there nice and easy. So what I'm going to do from here is carefully slide the ring down so that the tension of the ring band actually holds this piece in place. So take your time at this stage and carefully move it down, and if you need to adjust that centerpiece, go ahead and do that as well. Because there's usually a little bit of move and shift when you're sliding it down. Just remember, you're not in a rush. At least you shouldn't be. Before you get too far, it should start locking in place. Alright, so I'm going to try something a little different for this one. Because it's an emerald and it can't take the heat, I'm going to use this dapping set. I'm going to actually put a little bit of water in here. And I'm going to submerge the ring in it. Now I'm just going to be soldering one side at a time so I can get it all aligned in there. So I'm actually just going to use my third hand here. And I might actually, because the third hand is always a heat sink, I'm going to be holding it by the side that's not being soldered. So you can see that the ring is actually, the emerald is underwater, and I'm going to be adding solder to this side first. Alright, I'm going to add a little flux. And get ready to solder this first side. I want a pretty tight flame because I'm just going to try to get the solder to flow in that little seam quick. Alright, didn't take too much. The solder has flowed in there. Now with this one side soldered on, I just want it to line up a little bit better with this, so I'm going to carefully with my rawhide mallet just hammer it out just a little bit until these sides line up just a little bit more. Alright, I'm back over here, and I'm going to get ready to solder the other side on. Once you've had them all soldered together, double check to make sure that the solder flowed around every part of your seam. And if that's looking good, we can get ready to clean it up right now. Find a nice spot on your bench pin to really brace this against, and then you can start going at it with your file. And I really just want to bring it down to the same level as the ring, so I'm just being careful not to overdo it. So once you filed this edge clean, you can go in with your half round file and file out the inside now. Alright, so after it's cleaned up the file, I'm going to go in with this sanding wheel and just kind of clean up the inside of the band a little bit. Something I like to do as well is angle the ring as I file and just add a little bit of a bevel there. And what that does is just kind of adds a comfort fit to the ring. Of course, do it on both sides. And then once it's cleaned up with that sanding wheel, I'm going to go on and polish it. Now, just being really careful to hold it tightly when I'm going to give it the inside a little polish. I'm going to go ahead and polish the outside of the band. And I am using Avivor polish. Really like it for any sort of flex shaft polishing. So there you go. This ring is now sized. The emerald is looking beautiful and everything is all right. So if you're ever in need of sizing a ring that has a stone that can't take any heat, give this method a try, and I hope this helps.